Hello, this is Ruth Hollingshead, trustee for Site for Wight, welcoming you to this week's Talking News.
Site for Wight news for Friday the 10th of April 2020.
This is Brian reading an article from OnTheWight. How GCSEs and A-levels will be graded has now been revealed. Students on the Isle of Wight who are facing exams in the coming months can breathe a sigh of relief as Ofqual announce how exams will be marked. Education Secretary Gavin Williamson MP cancelled end of the year GCSEs, AS and A-levels as well as other qualifications in March in an unprecedented step to stop the spread of coronavirus COVID-19. Mr. Williamson said, "My priority now is to ensure no young person faces a barrier when it comes to moving on to the next stage of their lives, whether that's further or higher education, an apprenticeship or a job. How grades will be determined. Now, the Office of Qualifications and Exam Regulations Ofqual has revealed the way grades will be calculated. Grades will be determined through two pieces of information sent from schools or colleges. A student's predicted grade if teaching, learning and exams has gone ahead as planned, and, within each subject, a rank of students by predicted grades in each school. Other considerations. A range of work will be considered to work out predicted grades, including class and homework, results in assignments and any mock exams, as well as general progress made during the course. There is no requirement in the grading for new work to be set for students or for work to be included in the marking if it was set or completed after schools were closed on the 20th of March. Ofqual has said grades will not need to be submitted before the 29th of May, and centres will have at least 2 weeks in which to submit the data. Providing certainty for pupils. Along with exam boards, Ofqual will standardise grades and judgments across the board with the hope to publish grades when they are expected in August, if not a little earlier, so students can have the certainty they need. Students who feel their grades from the summer do not reflect their ability will have the opportunity to take their exams in the autumn or in summer 2021. If they choose to do this, both grades will stand. News grades will have equal status. In a letter to students, Sally Collier, Chief Regulator of Ofqual, said the aim of the new measures was to be fair to students and to make sure they were not disadvantaged in their progress because of the unprecedented conditions. She said, "Please be reassured the grades you get this summer will look exactly the same as in previous years, and they will have equal status with universities, colleges and employers to help you move forward in your lives as planned. Teachers and schools will not be allowed to share with students the grades they have sent to Ofqual."
This is Chris reading an article from the Isle of Wight Observer. The Isle of Wight Donkey Sanctuary featured live on Channel 4's The Steph Show on Tuesday lunchtime. The show's producers have been following the sanctuary's social media platforms during the period of coronavirus lockdown and were really impressed by the sanctuary's determination to take the sanctuary to the people. because supporters couldn't visit the sanctuary during this period of restrictions. David Hales, who looks after the sanctuary's website and social media, said, "We created the virtual Isle of Wight donkey sanctuary via our social media platforms, and every day we've had stories, videos, updates on all the donkeys, educational items and, of course, some humour for everybody to read and interact with." People have wanted to see something positive during these anxious times, and they have loved joining in with our stories about our rescued donkeys at a time when they can't visit. It seems to have resonated with people and brought a real smile to their faces. Steph McGovern, the presenter of the Steph Show, was trying to do the same thing, bring some positivity to people's lives at the moment, and thought the sanctuary was a good example to show what could be achieved. Channel 4 contacted me, and after a lot of prep work, we were on the show. The videos were put together by Lucy Smith, one of the sanctuary's apprentices, and she managed to combine her daily duties of mucking out the animals, feeding them, giving them their medicines, and moving them from stables to paddocks, with the task of recording the donkeys having their daily fun. Lucy said, "Sometimes the animals are fascinated by the camera and want to help. Sometimes they pose, but most of the time they carry on running around, eating and generally causing happy mayhem." The sanctuary, like other animal charities, is facing an extremely difficult time during the coronavirus lockdown, but is positive about the future. Charity manager Derek Needham said, "Like many other organisations on the island, Easter would have been our busiest period for visitors. Even during the lockdown period, we have significant costs involved in looking after the animals, and these costs can't be offset by visitor income at the present time. We are losing money, and the economics of running any kind of charity now are very difficult. However, we are no different to anybody else on the island. Families, businesses, or charities. We have to keep everybody safe, do the best we can, make the best plan we can, tough it out, and make sure we are still here to have the best time ever when lockdown finishes. We think that if we all pull together and get through this, the island could have the best late summer and autumn for a long time." Meanwhile, for the donkeys, life is one long sunny day in the fields. They are getting all their needs met and receiving the care they deserve. One day soon, they will be renewing their friendships with the people in the care homes on the island, people in Alzheimer's centres, and of course, with the myriads of schools and general visitors who enjoy the peace and tranquillity of the donkeys on the Wroxall site.
This is Howard Thomas reading an article from the Isle of Wight County Press. The Isle of Wight Council has confirmed that there will be no change to the normal waste collection times over the Easter bank holiday weekend. Islanders are asked to put out rubbish as normal, remembering to take precautions if COVID-19 has been present in the home.
OnTheWight, Den Scott. All profits from Isle of Wight Festival special edition t-shirts to help islanders. All profits from t-shirt sales will be distributed by Wight Aid to charities tackling food poverty, domestic abuse and assisting those experiencing social isolation on the island. The Isle of Wight Festival has released a special edition t-shirt to raise funds for Wight Aid, a charity supporting a number of organisations on the Isle of Wight. All profits from t-shirt sales will be distributed by Wight Aid to charities tackling food poverty, domestic abuse and assisting those experiencing social isolation on the island. Festival organisers wanting to offer the support of the Isle of Wight Festival family to the island community despite the 2020 event not taking place. Jeff Underwood, founder of Wight Aid, said, "We are extremely grateful that the Isle of Wight Festival family have joined us at this critical time. The COVID-19 crisis is affecting the island community in many unfortunate ways, and their support to our crisis fund will ensure the most critical charities get the support they need. A big thank you, Isle of Wight Festival."
This story is from the Isle of Wight Observer, and I'm Stephen McDevitt. Platform 1 offers island talent a songwriting chance. Platform 1 College of Music, based in Newport, has launched a new songwriting showcase opportunity for island residents aged between 14 and 24 years old. And it's not just for students enrolled at Platform 1. The highly acclaimed college say there is no limit regarding musical genre. It can be a solo project, a collaboration, a band, or instrumental. The only limitation is that the college wants to hear original music and no covers. All you have to do is email for a registration form from register@platform1.org, all one word, and Platform 1 will email back a form to complete. Submissions will be as MP3s or a relevant web link, and the closing date is May the 31st. David Ponton, director of Platform 1, said, "These are certainly unprecedented times, and we are committed to continuing our support to young musicians and creatives across the island. This is not a competition, but an opportunity to showcase musical works to a professional industry panel. The industry panel will go through all submissions and will select 3 projects that will gain access to free professional recording sessions with producer, session musicians if needed, mix engineer and mastering. Feel free to pass this on to any musical creatives. The Platform 1 College of Music has built an unrivaled reputation for excellence since opening in 1999. Results have never dropped below national benchmarks and are consistently above expectations set by the government across the country. One of its supporters is John Giddings, the organiser of the Isle of Wight Festival. Posting on their website, John says, "Platform 1 do an amazing job in nurturing talent and helping their students learn about the music business. We are proud to help them in any way possible."
Hello, this is Sue, reading from the Isle of Wight County Press. Gas payment email is scam, says IWASP Trading Standards team. An overdue gas bill email demanding immediate payment has been reported to the Isle of Wight's Trading Standards team as a scam. Sent in the name of the genuine gas supplier British Gas, the email claims a bill still needs to be paid. The Trading Standards team say it looks very authentic, with the British Gas logo and reference numbers. IWASP says, if you receive one of these emails, do not click on the link to pay. This is a scam. Never click on links in emails or text. Legitimate organisations will never ask you for your banking details in this way. If you receive this email, delete immediately. If you are a British Gas customer and unsure if it is genuine, contact British Gas using contact details you have found yourself.
This is Howard Thomas reading an article from OnTheWight. As well as islanders going out to their doorsteps or balconies, Isle of Wight ferries joined in at 8 p.m. last night. The Isle of Wight ferries joined 30 ships across the UK in sounding their horns at 8 p.m. in support of the NHS's heroes. The ferry sector has been adapting its operations to protect lifeline services to island communities, including the transportation of NHS staff and keeping essential freight routes open. To keep the wheels turning, more than 1,000 freight lorries travel through Portsmouth International Port each week. Approximately 80% of them carry food from continental Europe, including fresh fruit and vegetables. Competition rules across the Solent have now been relaxed, with Hover Travel, Red Funnel and Whitelink accepting rivals' tickets at no extra charge to ensure NHS staff and key workers can travel, as some routes are temporarily suspended due to the lack of passengers. Emma Batchelor, Director of Discover Ferries, which represents Whitelink, Red Funnel and Hover Travel, said, "This is an extremely difficult time for everyone, with many passenger ferry services needing to reduce or even suspend their operations due to the current travel restrictions. But it's incredibly humbling to witness the solidarity that our seafarer community shares with the rest of the British Isles, as we all unite to keep lifeline services operating and ensure the flow of essential food and medical supplies to where they're needed. The industry is also calling for government to roll out mass testing and supply protective equipment to staff, and the UK Chamber of Shipping is asking the government to provide financial support to help keep ferry services operating amid the financial losses. Chamber Chief Executive Bob Sanguinetti said, "We've already seen a number of ferry companies reduce their services and send a large number of their staff home. Unless these companies get access to the government financial packages now, this is likely to be followed by further reduction of services or indeed companies going out of business. We're being told it's fast becoming cheaper to lay ships up than to keep them running at a loss. This will put at risk our vital supply and essential logistics lines, the lifeblood of this nation."
Hello, my name is Sue. It's taken from the Isle of Wight Observer, and the Friends of the Animals thank our readers. The Friends of the Animals charity has thanked Isle of Wight Observer readers for their kind donations after we highlighted their plea for help and donations in last week's edition. The charity has received several donations, the biggest coming from a man who generously donated £244 worth of dog, cat and rabbit food, plus birdseed. He also gave the charity a very generous donation of £200. Martin Gomez, trustee, Friends of the Animals, said we also picked up a belated cheque for £4,306.71 from Support Adoption for Pets, which is the charitable arm of Pets at Home. The wonderful figure represents their customers' generosity from the last two fundraising campaigns. It will do a lot of good for island animals. We are just waiting for the all clear. We would like to thank everyone who has come forward offering to foster one of our rescued animals, as we are currently unable to do home checks, so we are unfortunately unable to take up their kind offers.
This item is from the Isle of Wight County Press, and I'm Steve McDevitt. Isle of Wight services over Easter. All you need to know. While Isle of Wight services are still caring for and treating people over this Easter holiday weekend, the key advice is still to stay home, stay safe, and help the NHS save lives. Temporary changes have been brought in to help tackle the coronavirus pandemic, and this NHS advice should be able to help point you in the right direction if you need it. If you have a high temperature, a continuous cough, and think you may have COVID-19, please contact NHS 111 online. Do not visit your GP practice, pharmacy, or any other healthcare venue. Apart from that, however, if you have any other health-related issue and need advice or treatment, the majority of GP practices will be open on Good Friday, the 10th, and Bank Holiday Monday, the 13th. On Saturday, April the 11th and Sunday the 12th, access to GPs will be the same as any other weekend. Dr Michelle Legg, GP and Clinical Chair of NHS Isle of Wight Clinical Commissioning Group, said, "If you think you need to be seen, please use your practice's website for an online consultation, or phone to discuss whether you need an appointment. People who feel unwell and think they may need a GP appointment should still phone in to their surgery in the usual way, especially with problems such as breast lumps, chest pain and blood in urine. Many patients can receive the appropriate advice and support over the phone, with appointments only being arranged for those who really need to see someone face to face. This may not be at your usual practice, but this will be explained to you when your appointment is made. These are exceptional circumstances, and the NHS is, as everyone knows, facing major pressures. But our staff are still here to help you. We know for many people it will be really difficult not seeing family and friends over Easter, but there are specialist services available to help you, including a range of mental health support. As well as most GP practices, the following options are also available this Easter. Pharmacies will be open to provide prescriptions and essential over-the-counter medication. Some will be open from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Friday and Monday, and others may be open longer. Please check their opening times on their website or visit www.nhs.uk before you travel. NHS 111 online, which is at www.111.nhs.uk, is able to provide advice and care for a range of issues. Please only call 111 if you can't get online or you've been instructed not to travel. For mental health support, over 18s can call the Safe Haven on 01983 520 168, or you can email safehaven@twosaints.org.uk from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on weekends and bank holidays. There is also a round-the-clock mental health crisis number for adults and those under 18, and that number is 01983 52214. The Urgent Treatment Centre at St Mary's Hospital is open, but the Isle of Wight NHS Trust are urging people not to attend unless you are asked to by an Urgent Treatment Service clinician. Advice is to phone your GP or contact NHS 111, who will direct you to the appropriate service. If you attend the Urgent Treatment Centre for a mild illness without going through NHS 111, you may be asked to return home and go through NHS 111. Emergency dental treatment. If you have a dental emergency, you should call your dental practice during opening hours for advice. If you do not have a regular NHS dentist, you can search for a local dentist on the NHS website at www.nhs.uk and call them. In the evening and at weekends, patients can contact NHS 111, which will provide advice and direct patients to an out-of-hours service if necessary. When patients call a practice, a telephone assessment will assess their dental needs, offer advice, or prescribe medication to relieve any pain or to treat an infection. The Isle of Wight Council has set up a helpline for the vulnerable, frail or elderly to provide information and advice as well as practical support to people who do not have support from families, friends or their local community. You can call 01983 823 600 with lines open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Dr. Legg added, "The NHS is working extremely hard to make sure everyone is able to receive the care they need during these difficult times. The changes in place will help us to do this, and local people can help by choosing the right service if they need care over the weekend. However, please remember to use our emergency departments and or 999 for life-threatening situations such as heart attacks, strokes and serious blood loss. They remain open and able to treat people who need the specialist life-saving care they provide."
This is Chris reading an article from OnTheWight. Hundreds of small business grants paid to the Isle of Wight businesses, with thousands more still eligible. There are 4,060 Isle of Wight businesses eligible for the Small Business Grant. The council are working their way through the claims, but urge businesses to complete the form if they have not already. Hundreds of small Isle of Wight businesses have now received a £10,000 Coronavirus COVID-19 grant from the government via the Isle of Wight Council, IWC. OnTheWight has received contact from several small business owners on the island who have not yet received the grant, so thought it would be a good idea to share details of the processes being undertaken by the council that would explain the delay. Over 500 already paid. £10,000 is available to all eligible business in receipt of Small Business Rate Relief or Rural Rate Relief. The grants were announced by the government last month, and since then 526 businesses have had the £10,000 paid into their accounts. The Isle of Wight Council say there are a total of 4,060 businesses eligible for the Small Business Grant. working hard through the claims. With their software providers, the business rates team are working hard to process more grants each day as swiftly as possible. A spokesperson for the Isle of Wight Council told OnTheWight that they will also be writing to business ratepayers to encourage applications, but would urge, in the first instance, to complete the form online if you are able. The current priority is to process grants for those companies they have received information from, so they are able to help as swiftly as possible. Complete the form. If you have not had to pay business rates in recent years, the council may not have your up-to-date bank details for direct payment, so make sure you complete the form on the council's website. That will ensure the Isle of Wight Council can pay you directly and as quickly as possible. For those eligible for grant funding who are currently paying business rates, it also allows Isle of Wight Council to double check your details are fully up to date.
This is Brian reading an article from the Isle of Wight Observer. Big cliff fall prompts warning to walkers. Dog walkers and people doing exercise have been warned to stay clear of a stretch of beach between Shanklin and Luckham following a big cliff fall. Tons of rock fell onto Apley Beach, Shanklin, prompting an emergency call-out for Ventnor Coast Guard. Thankfully, no one was near the cliff face when the fall happened on Tuesday evening, but people taking photographs of the fall were warned about safety and their responsibilities. Ventnor Coast Guard tweeted, "Tasked to a large cliff fall between Shanklin and Luckham. Safety advice given to people walking. Support of police to encourage people not to be in the area. Please avoid this area for walks. The cliff is falling in multiple places and unexpectedly."
Hello, this is Sue, reading from the Isle of Wight County Press. Isle of Wight's Mark and Marley King joined Camp Daffodils' online Easter festival. Level 42's Mark King will join the line-up at a virtual festival this weekend alongside singer-songwriter Mark's daughter Marley King. The Isle of Wight-based pair are on the bill for Camp Daffodils Easter Sleepover, which will be rocking a computer near you on Saturday and Easter Sunday. Children's TV favourites Dick and Dom and DJ Sarah Cox are also taking part. Mark and Marley will be performing at 5 p.m. from the Summerhouse Studios on Sunday. Join Camp Daffodils Easter Sleepover on Facebook, YouTube and Instagram.
This story is from the OnTheWight online news site, and I'm Stephen McDevitt. Armed Forces Day event for the Isle of Wight has been cancelled. The event was due to take place on 20th of June, but the council say they must follow the government's measures to protect the NHS and save lives. Due to the current restrictions on public life in response to the pandemic, it has been called off. The popular event normally celebrates the contribution of armed forces personnel with a veterans parade and salute. Council Chairman, Councillor George Cameron, said the organising committee was deeply disappointed to make the decision, but said it had been done in line with government advice. He said, "We understand that the cancellation of this event will be very disappointing for Islanders, but safety must come first. We must be responsible and follow the government's measures to protect the NHS and save lives. However, the focus now turns to next year and arranging a fantastic event for all of us to show our support and gratitude for those who have served or are currently serving in the forces and their families." Armed Forces Day is organised by members of the Royal British Legion and people with armed forces connections. The council is the main sponsor, but generous support also comes from town and parish councils. Councillor Cameron added, "Town and parish councils that have already contributed will be contacted and, with their permission, we will roll the money over to next year's event."
This is Den Scott reading the Isle of Wight Observer. Stephen and family provide shields to help key workers. A Shanklin man who knew he faced 3 months of isolation because of the coronavirus pandemic has put his free time to incredibly good use by helping to produce protective face shields for island key workers who need them most. Stephen Lee, 22, has had 2 kidney transplants, so knows only too well the importance of trying to avoid infection, especially those who are working tirelessly across the Isle of Wight in the fight against COVID-19 without proper protection. So with the help of his family and a host of goodwill helpers, Stephen has incredibly managed to produce nearly 1,300 face shields in under 2 weeks and is being praised for his efforts from all quarters. He said, "As we know, the COVID-19 virus has affected the supply of PPE to those who need them the most." Stephen said, "I saw social media posts about other people trying to help, and I knew I could do something to help those who were working with no protection. So using acetate sheet for the face shields and producing the headbands with a 3D printer, Stephen, his parents Andy and Yvonne, sister Hannah, herself a carrier, and girlfriend Danielle Medlin began producing the shields at home. But they could never have imagined the positive response and requests for the shields they would receive. They were soon unable to meet the demand as they ran out of materials and money to make them. So Stephen put up social media pleads for help from anyone who had a 3D printer, and the Isle of Wight 3D printing group were quick to respond. He said, "We had amazing support and now have about 30 people across the island printing headbands. When the first pickup was made from the helpers, we received 566 headbands. So then we were hard at work all night assembling the shields. My mum and dad have been doing the deliveries, and my girlfriend Danielle, who is also self-isolating with me, has been doing the admin work." With each shield costing about £1 to produce, Stephen started a GoFundMe page, which soon raised £2,000. But more funds are needed if Stephen and his family, along with their group of helpers and volunteers, are to continue their amazing work to try to safeguard those on the front line. Donations will help cover the cost of the acetate and the 3D printer filament materials. The family have been handing out the shields free with staff at the dialysis unit at St Mary's Hospital, where Stephen was treated before he had his transplants, amongst the first recipients with 30 shields. Demand has been so high, the family have set up an email for requests and are trying to prioritise. Production is ongoing, with the shields having already been modified with a headband that sits on the back of the head rather than going around the back of the ears to make it more comfortable. Stephen added, "We are still looking for help, either people with 3D printers who are willing to help create the headbands or donations of acetate. Either will be gratefully accepted. If you would like to order any face masks, please contact this email, iowfaceshields@gmail.com. Many thanks."
This is Howard Thomas reading an article from the Isle of Wight Observer. Island Roads and the Isle of Wight Council have given a helping hand to island scaffolding firms by suspending charges for scaffolding that remain on the network but where work has stopped due to the coronavirus crisis. This extension will be granted initially for 4 weeks and be reviewed after, according to government advice. A spokesperson for Island Roads has said, "In line with our commitment to supporting businesses through this difficult time, we agreed that any existing scaffolding on the public highway from that date will not incur a charge if work has been stopped due to the pandemic. If there is any reason where a company is still working but is unable to remove scaffolding because of coronavirus, we're happy to consider the case on its merits. Charges may be applicable to sites that are operating as normal or in respect of new applications. We hope that these measures will give some support to scaffolding and construction companies at this difficult time."
Hi, this is Sue, reading an article from OnTheWight. Isle of Wight Council extend period that dogs can exercise on beaches. The normal restriction comes into force from 1st of May. The council are making changes to that in light of the coronavirus outbreak. The Isle of Wight Council has agreed to extend the period of time that dog walkers can use beaches to exercise with their dogs, beyond the 1st of May, when the normal restriction comes into force. This decision will help people to follow government guidelines for social distancing when exercising by keeping the beach available for this purpose and reducing the need for people to converge on alternative areas. People are reminded to only ever walk to the beach for this purpose, in line with national guidance, which states that people should stay local, use open spaces near to their home, and not travel unnecessarily. If people can access beaches on foot from their homes, then they should ensure they are practising social distancing measures, keeping 2 metres apart from others outside their household. Unless people are with members of the same household, gatherings of more than 2 people in public places should not take place. People should not sunbathe, picnic or otherwise use the beach for anything other than daily exercise for themselves or their dog.
This is Howard Thomas reading an article from the Isle of Wight Observer. 2 Isle of Wight solicitors have announced they're joining forces. Churches Solicitors, which has an office in Ryde, is taking over fellow island company Walter Gray & Co. Founded in 1888, Churches Solicitors operates 5 South Coast offices in addition to Ryde, meaning this new association will provide a wider range of professional legal services to Isle of Wight residents and businesses. Moving forward, the 2 Walter Gray offices in Ryde and Cowes will remain open and will be known as Churches Walter Gray. Ian Robinson, managing partner of Churches Solicitors, said, "We're thrilled to be associated with such a well-respected law firm on the Isle of Wight. This move will give island residents the same high-quality service they've always received, but they'll now have access to a wider range of services and resources. Our investment in the Walter Gray brand will ensure continuity and future development, enriching the services residents are already offered by this outstanding team." Rosemary Hardwick, Senior Director of Walter Gray & Co, said, "We're passionate about serving the community on the island, and having the Churches team alongside us will be able to offer more legal services whilst still giving the friendly and local service for which we're known. Our loyal staff very much look forward to working with their new colleagues at Churches."
Isle of Wight County Press, Den Scott. Recovered coronavirus COVID-19 patient numbers rise, say the Isle of Wight NHS Trust. As a 7th coronavirus death on the Isle of Wight is announced this afternoon, Thursday, the Isle of Wight NHS Trust has also revealed the number of those who have recovered and been discharged from hospital has also gone up. 9 people who were admitted to St Mary's Hospital after testing positive for COVID-19 have now recovered and been discharged, says the Trust. There were 41 confirmed cases on the Isle of Wight. It means the island has the second fewest number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country.
And this is Chris
And Brian.
reading letters to the editor in the Isle of Wight County Press. Lockdown verse from Anne-Marie Drain, Queen Bower. Another day. The day begins, the sun shines through, but lockdown's here, what can we do? We've got the time, so make it pay. A healthy breakfast to start your day. A longer shower or soak in bubbles makes time to ponder all these troubles. So that's me set to start the day, and now to find a better way. We must help others with their troubles, living in this COVID bubble. So call or message, show you care, and let them know you're always there. Read a book, or plant some seeds, clean the car or pull up some weeds. Make each day a special time, and don't forget, there's always wine.
Open all hours Philip is our Gurnard go-to man. From Joan Hall, Gurnard. There are so many unsung heroes around at the moment, helping the rest of us to get by. Philip Dow of Nicer Local in Gurnard is one of the greatest. He's always on duty, cheery, and will help anyone. If he hasn't got something in the shop that you desperately need, he gets it for you. Since we had lockdown, he's lost 2 members of staff, one marooned in New Zealand with no hope of getting back, and another over 70 who is in self-isolation. Philip now has all the responsibility. He lost his mum only a short while ago, and she did all the finances. When she died, he closed for 2 hours. Sorry for inconvenience, said the handwritten note on the door. I've asked him, why don't you close, Philip? You're worn out. He answered with, I can't let my customers down. He gave in a bit and now closes at 7 p.m. instead of 8 p.m, but he stays on and sorts the stock and the shelves. He's the focal point of the village. You can rely on Philip. We're concerned the internet and the big supermarkets will kill off the little open all hours shops. A shop where you can get superb service, caring consideration, someone who knows you by name, someone who cares how you are that day, and a few words of village chat as well. The village shop whose staff are dedicated to their customers. Philip's grandparents were, and his mum Kath and dad Mike, and now Philip is in charge. We must cherish Philip and his sister Catherine and give them all our support. Here's to you, Philip, and all of us who care about you, who are so grateful to you. Look after yourself. We need you. And not the shop, you.
This is Howard Thomas reading one of the country's favourite poems, Daffodils, by William Wordsworth. I wandered, lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vale and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude, and then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils.
Hello, I am Lisa, the Finance Officer at Site for Wight. I'd like to talk to you about a few financial matters. 1. Mortgage payments. Most mortgage providers are offering 3 months payment holiday and are making the process take just 2 minutes to complete. Please contact your own mortgage company and see what they are offering. Number 2. Self-employed people. If you have been self-employed for 2 years and have had to stop work due to the coronavirus, you can make a claim. The claim will be 50% of your average profits over the last 3 years. Information is online at www.gov.uk. Number 3. Furlough employees. Your employer might have spoken to you about furlough. This is where your job is put on hold whilst you cannot work due to the coronavirus, and you will receive 80% of your wages paid by the government. If you have heard about this or are an employer and want further information, please visit www.gov.uk. 4. Retail, leisure and hospitality businesses on the Isle of Wight. The government are offering full business rate relief for the year 2021 and grants of either £10,000 or £25,000 to retail, leisure and hospitality businesses. Despite advertisements to the contrary, if you think you are entitled, you'd need to go online to the Isle of Wight Council website and make a claim. It is not automatic necessarily, so please do go online and make a claim through www.iow.gov.uk. 5. Finally, you can call the Isle of Wight Council and ask for your council tax direct debit not to be collected until June. This is a deferment, not a reduction in your council tax. If you need any help or advice, never hesitate to give us a call at Site for Wight on 5 22205. Thank you.
Site for Wight would like to thank you for listening to this week's edition of the Talking News. We would also like to thank our volunteers for reading, and a particular thank you must go to the Isle of Wight County Press, OnTheWight, the Isle of Wight Observer, and a special thank you to Vectis Radio, who has helped us get vital information to our members. Stay safe.